All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Shay Thayer. I'm the training coordinator here at WorldBook, and I'm excited to get to share with you our student database today. So, Student has an older look and feel, but the site still cultivates curiosity with the ability to explore. But it centers around our older students' comfort and familiarity with online learning. Typically, this researcher will use a direct search to seek out information. So the main target age group for student is upper elementary and middle school students who are familiar with online searching and navigating sites. So rather than a lot of icons and visual cues on the homepage, there are quick links, and then the rest of the features are going to be tucked in the hamburger menu on the right side. You will see some features from kids if you're familiar with that database, but there's more of everything in student. So there are more articles, related media, more areas to obtain information, and additional features to make students more effective and efficient in their research. So we'll go ahead and dive in. So here is the student homepage. Right off the bat, I like to point out this little featured image. This image will change every time you return to the homepage. So this is a great way to spark curiosity for patrons to just learn about something new. They can click into the featured article for that image to read more about it. And then, of course, users can do a direct search. So using the search bar that is right in the front, I'm going to go ahead and search for water. There is a predictive search bar. So as I type in a word, it's going to start suggesting articles for me. I'm just going to go ahead and search it. Search results in student will always appear with encyclopedia articles first. So those are going to always be the first thing listed. The rest of the types of resources will appear over on the left-hand side. We have interactive images, which will appear in the interactive media category. These will always be indicated by the pointer finger icon. There are two types that you'll find here in student. There are static images, which look like this. It's just a basic image. But what's special about these interactive media or these interactive images is that they have hotspots that contain additional information. So I can get little blurbs of information. Some of them will even link to the article here in student to read more. But you may also find photo galleries, embedded video clips or audio clips for users to engage with as they explore the image. The other type of interactive image that you'll find in student are 360-degree. So these will also have the hotspots, but in addition, you can also click and look around. So just an additional way to explore the different images and the information within them. Other types of resources that you'll see in student and search results include dictionary results, resource guides, which will collect resources on that given topic. So for example, if I were to click on the mineral water one, and let's go back, let's click on just the water one. You can see all of these articles linked under different categories to kind of help organize those. But this is a great way to direct patrons as they do research to help them find information on topics that they're interested in. They might not know exactly what to search in the search bar, so the ability to kind of click and explore and browse here can be really helpful. Other types of resources that you'll see include videos and animations, images, maps, historical maps. Back in time articles are here in student. These articles were published in the year in parentheses. So these are great for offering perspective and a great way to compare and contrast what was written in the past with what our current articles look like. There are some sound clips here and tables as well, which are a great way to get information at a glance. Clicking into the article in student, I'll show you what the layout of the encyclopedia articles look like and talk a little bit more about the tools and the accommodation features here. So right off the bat in the articles, over on the left, you have your table of contents. This is going to help users navigate our longer articles so they can jump from section to section to get to where they want to read in the article. We also have the read aloud capability. So clicking the play button will start read aloud.
Water is the most common substance on Earth's surface. It also covers.
And you do have the ability to change that voice, so you can change the accent and the speed of the read aloud. Student also has the double click dictionary, which will pull up a definition for you when you double click on a word. And then the rest of the tools in the upper right corner. So here you can change the view. So you can change and view by section. So this just changes it from, instead of scrolling through the article and in one page, you can jump to specific sections. And then you'll have to click at the bottom if you want to see another section. So it can just help the patrons or the users who are overwhelmed from having to scroll through so much content to get to the part of the article that they're interested in. You also have your save options in this menu. These include the ability to save as a PDF, save to Google or OneDrive. You also have the option to save to My Research, which is our digital organization tool. And I will talk more about this feature in detail in a few minutes. You can also share it via email or by copying the direct link, print, view the citations for the article. You can see the citations. They'll always be in MLA, APA, and Harvard format, so you can always get the citations for resources in those three formats. You can also change the text size to make it larger or smaller, or change the text font. So student now has the Open Dyslexic font. This font was designed to address some common symptoms of dyslexia. Some highlights include the heavy weighted bottom to reinforce letter direction and the unique shape to help prevent swapping of similar letters. Selecting this font will last for your entire session, so users won't have to reselect it every time they visit a new article. So I'll leave it on just so you can kind of see what that will look like. You can also translate with that Open Dyslexic font on, and the font choice will stay with you. So for example, if I translate this article into Spanish, you can see the article is now in Spanish, and it does still have the Open Dyslexic font that I selected. So that's it for the Tools and Settings menu. You also have the tabs in the upper left-hand corner. Here you can find the media for the article. This will pull together all media that you can find throughout the article, including games, tables, images, videos, and maps. We also have a related information tab where you can see links to related articles, links to related external websites, curriculum standards if you have users who are interested in standards for the articles, as well as the Lexile measure, again, if you have users interested in the level of those articles. Going back to the homepage of Student, we'll take a look at some of the research features. Since Student was designed with a student researcher in mind, I do like to highlight those. The first one being My Research. So My Research is this digital organization tool. It does require a personalized login, so you will have to create an account if you don't already have one, but it's a really easy one-time creation, and then you'll have that account as long as you're a WorldBook user. With this account, you'll be able to create My Research projects. So each of these projects, you can collect different resources in, you can save articles, images. The more types of resources you save, the more categories will appear to help keep you organized. These projects can be deleted. They can also be emailed if you are looking to share this collection of resources with others. You are able to do that. What's also nice about these projects is that you can save outside books and websites. So if you have patrons who are doing research outside of WorldBook, they can still save those resources here so that everything is in one easy to find place. You can also save citations from the citation builder. and those will appear in their own category within a project. So that citation builder can be found under quick links or in the main menu over on the right. In the citation builder, users will select the type of citation that they'd like to create and then fill in the given information. This will create your citation in MLA, APA, and Harvard format, so the same three that we have throughout the resource. These citations can then be copy and pasted into an outside bibliography or saved directly to a My Research project if you have one of those created. The third research feature I'll highlight is going to be found only in the hamburger menu over on the right, and that is how to do research. And this feature takes the different steps of the research process and provides helpful information and tips for users as they go through and complete these different steps. So the introduction is just kind of starting you off. Planning has questions to help scaffold that research process. So for younger researchers who may not know exactly which questions they're supposed to be answering, we have some prompts in here to help them. We also have some really helpful information on finding sources and evaluating sources, including internet and social media. Examples in outlining if they're writing a paper and need to create outlines, and then information on plagiarism and citations. So this is a great place. You can send patrons here directly, or you can pull specific parts of this and send them to your patrons to use with their research. Going back to the homepage, we pull out some of our more exciting features. Starting off, we have our current events feature called Behind the Headlines, where our editorial team takes current events or especially popular topics and they rewrite them to the level of students, so that middle school level. They go behind the headlines and they link it to relevant World Book content. So you can see throughout the articles the linked content within, so users can continue to explore and build background knowledge as they're reading. These are updated every few days, so you know that they are always going to be kept up to date. And you can see an archive with some of the past stories or the past articles here as well. Underneath behind the headlines, we have our biography center. If you have patrons who are coming in who are doing biography projects and they're looking for somebody to do those projects on, they can come in here, they can see some of today's birthdays. They can browse for biographies by specific areas of work, gender, nationality, or time period, or all four. They can also view some of our pre-created collections. So these browse options just help them find somebody new. Maybe it's somebody they've never heard of before, but somebody that they're interested in learning about. And then underneath the Biography Center, we have some featured media. These include 360-degree images and short video clips.
It's a gift to be shared.
And all of the videos in Student now have closed captioning, which can be turned off if you'd like with the 3 buttons in the bottom right corner. Other fun features include the Legends of Learning games that are found in Student. You may have noticed one of them in the water articles, but they also now have their own homepage found under quick links. These games are sorted into intermediate science and math and beginner science and math to make it easier for users to find them. So beginner science and beginner math are going to be at the elementary level. The I button will tell you which grade levels they're recommended for. So this one is recommended for grades 1. And clicking curriculum integrations will tell you a little bit more about what is going to be talked about in that game. So you can see the main concepts here. This can be helpful if kids are looking for games that cover specific topics that they're interested in, or parents are looking for games that are going to cover topics that their students are learning about. They can come in here and get a little bit more information before playing that game. The intermediate science and the intermediate math games are going to be at the middle school level. So again, clicking that I will allow you to see more information about those games before you click directly into them. Student also has trivia quizzes that can be found in the main hamburger menu on the right. These trivia games range in topic. We have some that cover animals and nature, all the way to history and a trivia grab bag. So depending on what they're interested in or what they're learning about, they can come in here and they can quiz themselves. They can answer the questions directly in World Book Student. And then they can check their answers. That check the answers button will tell them which questions were correct, which were incorrect, and what the correct answer is. These trivia games, like I said, can be done directly within Student, but you could also take these and turn them into a game outside of Student. So they could quiz a friend, they could quiz parents, or they can create a trivia quiz of their own. The World Resources feature, also known as the Maps and Atlas, actually holds 4 different resources within it. So these can be accessed individually from the main menu or all within the World Resources feature. The first one here is interactive maps. This feature will allow users to explore the map by zooming in and out, clicking and dragging, and you'll see all of these different pins appear. Each color represents a different type of place. So this legend will tell you which type of place the pin is. And each pin will contain a link to go to the article on that place. Users can also search for something directly. So if they're specifically looking for, let's say, Paris, they can search the map to find the Paris pin, and then again, zoom in and out to see what's around it. Another feature in the World Resources tab is going to be the World Book Atlas. This feature will allow you to view different views of the map. So here, let's say I'm looking for maps of North America, specifically the US. Over on the left here, I can click other views of this map and see the other maps available. So I can view an economy map, a population density map, some average temperature maps. And at any time, I can click zoom back out to change the area that I'm looking at those maps for. Just going back to the World Resources, the next one we have is Compare Places. So this one was updated in the last couple of years to be more interactive. And it's great for learning about a specific place or comparing 2 places with each other. So here you can select the place or the type of place that you want to compare. We'll go ahead and compare countries. If you're looking to learn about just one place, you can click the I button. And this will take you to a quick facts page where you can view those facts. You can view a media gallery with images, maps, and audio clips, as well as a link to view the article here in Student. This page can be printed off, so users can very easily take this quick facts page offline to use for later. But the other aspect of this feature, and I didn't mean to click out of it there, the other aspect of this feature is to actually do the compare and contrast. So I'm going to select 2 different countries to compare. So I'm going to compare, let's say, Belgium with Canada. You can see each time I select a place, I get an interesting fact. And once I have those 2 places selected, you'll see them compared up top. And then I'll be asked some questions about those 2 places. So which is biggest, which has the most people, and so on. So I can go through, I can answer these questions. If I don't want to answer these questions, I can click compare all. And this will skip that portion. It will reveal those answers for me, and I can see the rest of the virtual Venn diagram. So here you have information for those two places being compared side by side. This page can be printed off, so you can take the comparison offline. And then you can click to learn more about one of those places by clicking View the Exhibit. And that will take you to the quick facts page, like I showed with the other country, with Australia, I think it was. And then the last world resources is brand new, and this is outline maps and flags. So you may be familiar with this feature from kids. It is now in student. It was just added in student this month. So we're really excited about that to give you another place to access these blackline maps and flags. So these are really just downloadable, printable PDFs that you can use. So anything that patrons and users might need a blank map for, you can find those here to print off. So we have some that are blank, but we also have some with labels. So this is a blank one. And then this would be an example with the labels already on it. So maybe they're doing a country project, they can come in here. They can find a map of that country. We also have maps for individual states. So if they're doing a state project, they can get the state map and state flag. They can fill in different landmarks. They could just color it in, whatever they need a map for. So those are all available here in Student. The last section of Student that we'll look at is the Educator Tools section, and we won't spend very much time here, but I just like to point out the tools that are available in here just so you're aware of them. The first one is curriculum correlation. So if you do have patrons who are interested in finding materials based on standards, that can be done here. We also have printable graphic organizers. So if users need some support as they're reading articles or doing research, they can download and print off these graphic organizers to take notes as they read. And then lastly, we have web quests. So these are pre-created activities designed to be done alongside student. They range on different topics here and the different types of questions that are asked. So I'm just going to go ahead and select one here. But you can see the different types of questions. It's going to lead them to which articles to look at to find the information that's being asked. Some of them will have some extension activities or extended reading, and each one will have an answer key at the end so they can check their answers when they're done. So these can be great for library programming or for users who are coming in who just need some extra support as they're doing research. These would also be great just to have printed out for users to complete. We do have one on elections and voting, and we have some holidays and celebrations one that could be great as the months progress and we move in and get closer to those different holidays and celebrations. All right, so the last thing that I want to show today, and this thing is getting in my way. There we go. Okay. The last thing that I want to show today is going to be the training guide. And I just want to highlight all of the resources that we have to support using Student. So from the bottom toolbar from within Student, I can click Training and Support, and I can get help for Student. This will take me to Student's product page on our training guide, where I can access how-to articles for all of the different features. I can also access tutorial videos for the different features. So if you'd rather watch a video than look at a step-by-step tutorial or a step-by-step how-to guide, you can see those here. We also have a resources page. So this will have printable resources specific to Student. We have promotional materials here specific to Student and the features within. These social media posts and printable flyers are all free for you to use however you think is going to be best. So if you have your own social media accounts that you want to share those to, or maybe you just want to print these flyers out just to have in the library, you can do that. We also have these timely topic documents. So as we get into these different months, right now we're in Hispanic Heritage Month, you can just get some ideas on different ways to use World Book to learn more about the month that we're in. So right now with Hispanic Heritage Month, you can get ideas within Student to learn more about Hispanic heritage figures and events. I'm going to open that tab back up. To get to the homepage of the training guide, you can just click the Training and Support logo, which is how you get back to the homepage of any of our resources. And I just want to point out in the site map over on the right-hand side, we have our recently added resources. There are lists. So here you can see a list of all of the games in Student, as well as all of the interactive images in Student, and which articles to find those in. So if patrons are specifically looking for those images with the hotspots, they can come here and they can see where or which articles to find those in. There is also a section specifically for libraries here. So we've linked some content that we think is going to be relevant for you. It's not specific to the student resource, but a lot of it is just general World Book Online information. I just like to point that out in case you're interested in learning more about the different products. There are some links here. But that is all the material that I have for you today. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. So if there's anything that you're still wondering or you'd like me to show again, you can unmute or go ahead and put it in the chat. If you have questions later, or if you're watching this as a recording, my email is on the screen, so you can always send me questions and I'm happy to answer those for you. But like I said, that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for having me, and hopefully you learned something new about Student. All right, well, thank you. Have a good rest of your day.